In this video, we'll cover how I set up vMix for our dynamic live show, how I use triggers to manage everything from a Stream Deck while being on camera, how I integrated vMix Social, and I'll demo how it all came together in a mock rundown. This is the second video in our live studio breakdown. For all the hardware, camera, and lighting setup, check out the first video. Now, let's break it all down in vMix. All right, so now let's put it all together and break down how vMix is set up and how this is all working. So I'm gonna grab my Stream Deck and I'll just also run through the shortcuts here, and also because this is the easiest way to control the entire show. Just kind of giving you a rundown of the shots. This is not gonna be a very thorough breakdown of how vMix works, but I'm gonna show you how I set it up. So if you're familiar with vMix, you kind of bring in all of your elements, and then you either use those elements or add more elements to build out your shots, which would be the independent things that you cut to throughout the shots. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to use vMix. This is how I have it set up. So all of these are combinations of multiple elements that you'd find down here. So I have my video input here. I have the zoom inputs here. I have music playback loop here. I have lower thirds here, social feeds down here. This is a standby screen. This is actually connected to a virtual event wall. I'll talk about that in a future video. We've got the countdown clock. So this is what people see when they're on hold. Once the show starts, I have a start button right here that will instantly switch to the start show video feed. We've got an intro video, and it's basically doing a lot of things with the audio bus mixing as well. So once the video ends, it'll automatically do a stinger transition and then cut to shot one, which is the studio. So I've got the multi-view coming out of vMix mapped to all the buttons here. So the top 4 outputs here, and then outputs 5 to 8 down here. And these are all cut to, so as soon as I press it, it's gonna cut to the shot. Normally, if I was producing or technical directing a live show, I'd wanna have like a preview and a live just to verify the shots, but because that's just an extra click and I'd rather not deal with it, as soon as I click, these are automatically gonna go live. So the way I have my shot set up, shot 1 is just me in the studio. Shot 2 is the guest. So whatever guest I have loaded in from Zoom, I can switch to their shot. Shot 3 is the 2 of us. Shot 4 is my computer screen. So that is the studio TV. Usually that would have the NDI video output, but if I wanted to show a web page, I could bring a web page up full screen here and show that web page. Shot 5 is a split screen with me and the computer, so if I was talking about a web page or something. Shot 6 is same thing but with a guest, so if a lot of the guests were our sponsors, so if I brought up their web page and wanted to keep seeing them talking, this is a good layout for that. 7 basically, so 7 is a list that I have set up in vMix, and this is video playback. So some videos we had were pre-recorded interviews or other things we needed to play. As soon as I hit 7 on this button, it'll switch to the shot, automatically do a stinger transition, and then automatically play the first video in the list. And then, because I wasn't planning on having to cut early, once it plays at the end, it'll automatically transition back to the studio shot. And then it'll also advance to the next shot on the list, so I could just hit the button again after introducing the next video if I was playing multiple videos in the same live show. So this should transition back in 4 seconds. We can see the countdown down here. And now we're back to the studio. So a lot of this is just thinking ahead of time of like, what's the flow of the show going to be, and setting up triggers for that ahead of time. So I have to do as few things as possible to keep the show flowing. And then lastly, number 8 is an overlay. So this won't cut to shot 8. It'll just turn shot 8 into overlay 1. I had some like video intros for some segments and stuff. So these were things where I just wanted to play a quick video or overlay a still image or something where I didn't need to cut away from my shot. I didn't want to kill the audio or anything. The other thing with these video triggers is they also mute the audio buses, which I'll explain in a second. So shot 8 just goes into an overlay. So this is a video intro for our Tricks of the Trade, which was the theme of the conference. So this would introduce me talking about people tweeting in stuff. Basically, overlay is set to on or off. So if I hit it again, it'll then transition out of it'll turn the overlay off. And it'll also automatically advance to the next item in the list. So now if I hit it again, it'll show whatever was next, which is the cards that we would use to tell people what the next talk was. And if I turn it off again and then turn it back on, it's the next card. So there's another way to cycle through items by using triggers to make it a lot easier, so I don't have to like click next. It'll automatically do it for me. Other buttons up here. So we have the start show. So we have the end show. So once everything's done, I'll hit end, it'll turn off all the mics, and it'll play this end credit video that we have. And then after the end credit video is done, it'll go back to the hold loop. Up here is break. That'll just immediately cut to the hold loop if I had a technical issue or something. fortunately did not happen. This will just go straight to the break hold loop and kill my audio. Master, so this is what I talked about when I was going over the headphones. This will basically solo bus C. So this is a good time to explain how the audio buses work. So this is a personal preference, but this is how I sort of evolved in setting up my audio bus mixes and what I've been using moving forward, and it's worked out pretty well. So if you're not familiar with audio buses, you can think of them as groupings of audio. So all of these are my independent audio clips, or any source here that has audio. So I'm speaking right now, my audio is coming into vMix, so that's my microphone here. Basic way, when you import an audio source, if you switch to that audio source, vMix will turn that audio on, and if you switch away, vMix will turn that audio off. That's a very basic setup. My setup's more complicated, so very few of these sources are set to automatically play if the video goes live. I think the only one that is the start show. So when the start show video plays, the audio will play. That's pretty straightforward. But basically what I have set up here, bus A is all the mic sources. So my microphone's going to bus A, and any Zoom guest is going to be the Zoom audio is going to be going to bus A. Bus B is going to be music, so the music loop is going to bus B. Bus C is going to be my return feed, so bus C is what I'm sending to my headphones when I'm hosting, and so that'll be just the Zoom audio or nothing, or it'll be the video playback, so I can hear that for reference. But obviously I don't want to hear myself, so my audio is mixed out of bus C, but I can hear the Zoom guest when they're talking, and also having a separate bus is handy for bus C, so before we're on air, they can't see me, but I at least can talk to them, and so this channel is always open so we can communicate with each other even when we're not live. And that is paired with bus D, so bus D is what's going back out to Zoom. So on the NDI settings, so if we go to external output NDI settings, number 1 is our master output. Number 2 is going to the TV. I'm sorry, number 4 is going to the TV. Number 2, it was experimental, is not being used right now. Number 3 is going back to Zoom. So number 3 is what everyone on Zoom sees. And if we click in settings, you can see that their audio channel is bus D. So they're getting a special mix. So I send all the videos to bus D. I usually don't send the music there because people get tired of hearing the music after a while. And they'll be able to hear my mic at all times on bus D. So that's how usually those 4 buses are enough for me to kind of handle any basic situation. And it's worked out really well. So going back to the shortcut, this master audio button, basically it just solos bus C on and off. So if bus C is soloed, I'll hear the mix that I want to hear when I'm usually presenting. And if I turn it off, then I'm going to hear the master audio. So I'll switch between these throughout the show for my own sanity, just to make sure the audio is actually coming out from me and the guest, and also to make sure that nothing like weird is happening. And then lastly, the last 2 buttons, because in the studio I switch between, which you can see here, so the studio, so anything you're seeing here is going to the studio TV right now. So this is the social feed, and then if I switch back, it's just the social loop. Ideally, there'd be a way to mix multiple sources, and I was trying to do more with the output to the TV, but vMix was a little bit limited. So basically, it's just this switches output between 2 different outputs. This is Social Studio TV, and this is Studio TV. So it's just switching whatever the output is between these 2 numbers. It's not very complicated. And then lastly, there's a folder here that goes to some additional shortcuts that just can start and stop recording and streaming. That's usually only for after the show, because the way this is set up is, let's go to start show. These are all the triggers for when the show starts. So on transition in, it'll start recording. So the recording starts. It sets bus B volume, so bus B is the music. So when we're on hold, music's going to be full volume. When the show starts, we don't want music, so it's going to set the volume to 0. You can just turn bus B from master off, but I found that setting the volume gives a little bit more flexibility in control over how the music sounds. Okay, video plays. On completion, then we hit the stinger, transition to Studio One. On transition, so that is the transition out. Now we set bus B volume back to 50, so it's not going to be full blast, but we're still going to have a little bit of background music in there. Bus X send to master, so X would be whatever value you put in here. That would be A, that would be the bus that has all of the microphones, so that turns my microphone on and makes it live. So now bus A is live. Play, that's just to trigger the music to play. Usually it does play, and sometimes it wasn't playing. So I just have a manual just to make sure it actually does play. And then down here is a delay, so it's in milliseconds, so 2 seconds after the transition out, the lower third with my name is going to pop up on screen, and then 8 seconds later, it's going to transition off. And so that is a way to do a bunch of things that normally if I was producing the show myself, I'd just be manually triggering it. I usually have triggers set for audio bus mixes just to make things a lot easier, and to not forget to turn things on. And these are mission critical things where you really don't want the audio to not turn on, because I've experienced that, and someone starts talking and you realize that no one can hear them because their audio bus was not turned on. So the start show is the most complicated one with all the triggers, but it just takes a little bit of forethought, and a lot of it is set up ahead of time, and then it works out really well. And then to do the shortcuts are all set up. If you go to your system, set your settings in vMix, and you go to shortcuts, these are all the shortcuts, and these are for different Stream Deck layouts. And then so with vMix Social, that is vMix just has tons of great things that you can either look for third-party sources or they already have them built in and included with the price. So vMix Social have pulling from Twitter, so it's monitoring the hashtag WCLAX, WordCamp LAX. All you have to do is just go into the website. I have it pulled up either here on the computer, or I could also bring it up on the iPad. I was looking for tweets that offered tricks of the trade, so the call to action was tweet out your best WordPress tricks of the trade, and we would feature it. I could basically go scroll through the system, and then if there was a good tweet, I could either hit send and push it out immediately or add to queue. And then when I was live, I could just view queue and already have all of the tweets that were relevant filtered down, and I could push them out immediately, and then it would send it over to the TV screen in this custom layout that I built that is on brand with WordCamp LAX. Usually the layouts look something more like this, where they have a couple of pre-built social layouts, which are great. But this one, wanted to make something on brand, so I built that in GT Title Designer, and then just assign the proper fields to where they belong in vMix Social. So vMix Social is excellent, works out really, really well, and is a great way to pull in YouTube live comments, Facebook live comments, tweets, Twitch, and then IRC, which I have not used. That's how we made the social connection work, and bringing in live tweets into the live show. So now let's put it all together and run through a mock version of how the live show would work, all being controlled from Stream Deck. So we'd have the hold screen up. I would wait until the clock hits 0, but in this case, let's just pretend the clock hits 0. Then I would hit start show. That would immediately start the recording, transition out of that overlay, dim down the background music, and play the live video. I'd be able to hear it in my earpiece of the music, and I could also see the countdown clock of how much time I had left. PromptSmart would already have the script loaded up, ready to go. I would just be chilling out here, waiting for the video to start. Video automatically transitions out, comes into my live studio shot. The lower third automatically pops up. I would also start reading the script. PromptSmart has my microphone on, so it is automatically tracking. Welcome everyone to the WordCamp Los Angeles live show. I am Joey Dowd, your live show host and wrangler. So what is the WordCamp LAX live show? So if I wanted to introduce our tricks of the trade, showcasing the tweets, I could play the overlay shot, which would play our intro video. I could also switch over to the wider camera so you could see the TV screen. And then I would also have to switch the output to Social Studio. So now you can see the tweets up on screen. Turn off the overlay. Remember to look at the other camera and talk about the tweets. If I switch back here and now switch up to shot 5, which shots do line up perfectly with the TV screen. Now I could talk about whatever's on my computer screen while still looking into the camera and being on screen at the same time. So having this nice kind of 3/4 and 1/4 look works out really well, and I think looks pretty cool. If I had a remote guest in here or something, I would usually switch to the 2 camera angle, speaking here, and then if they're speaking more, I would just switch to their camera angle over here, and if they're talking about something on their website or whatever, I could switch up to this layout so that they could talk and explain whatever is on screen while I'm scrolling through a website of some sort. And then also if we had video playback or something of playing back a pre-recorded interview, just hit this button. It'll automatically stinger transition into the video and mute my mic so I'm off camera and can wait while this video plays back, and I can see the countdown clock over in the multi-viewer screen and know that there's like 13 minutes left on this video and just chill out. And then once the video is done, it'll automatically transition back to me and turn my microphone on. And now I'm back on screen. My microphone is back on. And then I would wrap up the show. And once the show is done, I would just hit end. And it'll automatically kill my mic, transition out to our end screen credits. And then once the end screen credits are done, it'll automatically transition to the hold screen. And that's the show. We just rinse and repeat for the next hour. I hope this gave you a great overview and lots of ideas for setting up a live streaming studio. Don't let the amount of stuff be overwhelming. I already had a lot of this equipment from producing videos over the years. Check out our other videos on the channel and full virtual event guide over at newterritory.media for a range of options to get started in live streaming for any budget. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here and found this useful, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below with your questions or tips on how you've been live streaming. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.